Hello everyone, and welcome once again to another edition of the Foolish Fish Esoteric News with your weekly updates on the worlds of esoteric and occult book publishing and arts and events and paraphernalia. And thank you once again to Miskatonic Books for your support. Miskatonicbooks.com are your #1 international purveyor of esoteric and difficult to provide occult books, difficult to acquire occult books, should I say. Miskatonic Books gets them from around the world. They ship them within the US and worldwide as well, and those are difficult to find books, maybe because they're out of print, or maybe because they were printed abroad, and then they save you on your shipping within the US. Very, very cool stuff. Miskatonic Books have got some very, very cool news for us this week. The Goddess Seals, Sacred Magical Symbols for Modern Magical Practitioners by Nikki Wardwell Sleeth is now in stock and shipping. Folks, we've been waiting for this one for a little while, and this is really, really exciting news. If you head over to miskatonicbooks.com, you'll be able to see both the regular limited edition hardcover, which is the one that is currently being shipped. You've got a really nice picture of what that's currently looking like, right? The book that's currently shipping. And then, of course, if you have ordered or pre-ordered the limited edition, then that'll arrive a little bit later. But nevertheless, you've still got that that lovely table of contents that you can check out just to see if any of those titles of chapters ring any bells, or if they call to you in particular. Yeah, very, very exciting stuff, and congratulations to Miskatonic Books on a very, very nice looking publication there. Very cool. All right, so yeah, those of you who've ordered your limited edition, you should expect to see that in the post some point very soon. Okay, more actually news still from Miskatonic, since they published this in collaboration with Jack Grail. Grail Press has released a couple of months ago actually a new 4th edition of the Hekataeon, and I've actually spent this week reading the Hekataeon for a review, which I'll hopefully manage to record today after recording this one. So many of you may even have seen my Hekataeon review by the time you see this video, unless you're watching it on the Thursday that I'm actually recording it, 1st of February, which is when the Foolish Fish members will get to see this news video. And let's see what do we have here. So this is the special deluxe edition, 72 copies of this one printed, and it's all in white rather than in green and gold. So seems to be white, red, and silver. Really very, very beautiful, and so that will be shipping soon. Those of you who've been waiting for your 4th edition of Hekataeon, you'll be seeing that very soon. And then great news as well. So the next round of PGM Praxis, I've told you this last week already, is on its way. A fantastic course that I always recommend. But this is very cool news as well from Jack Grail. I will soon be starting another online course called PGM Praxis 2, The Kingdom. More on that in the next week or two, and I, for one, am there for it. I absolutely loved the first course, the PGM Praxis course, and you've probably seen my review of Hail Hekate, the first course by Jack Grail, which is widely acknowledged as one of the best courses out there, full stop. And then, yes, for the 72 people that ordered these beauties down here, right, a year ago, then the wait is finally over. Good stuff. Black Letter Press have got some news that I completely forgot to mention last week. This has been out for, a little over a week now. The Comte de Gabalis is out, folks. It's quite an important piece of occult history. It's a kind of a mix of occult fact and fiction. It's absolutely a classic, on which the Celestial Conversations book that I reviewed last week is well, that's where it got its inspiration for, right? So 1670 was the original, and there have been a few versions, and this is from the most complete version that is currently available, written as a conversation between an all-knowing Kabbalistic count and a naive narrator. It's full of amusing and outrageous claims, such as that all the great ones of the past were born from interspecies intercourse. Scholars suspect that Villars satirized contemporary credulity and the rise of Paracelsian beliefs in court circles. Esotericists, on the other hand, see his humour as a cover for secret doctrines and occult truths about the intermediate realms and their denizens. So you've got a vague idea here of what's going on here, but what a beautiful, beautiful edition we have. And yeah, it's of course going to be up to Black Letter Press's usual high standards of publishing. All right, talking about high standards of publishing, folks, there's news of there's a lot of news, folks, from Anathema Publishing. It's a big newsletter, first of all. I'm not going to take it in order, actually, because I want to talk about these things one at a time. Of course, at the beginning, we're talking about, current publications, the upcoming Semesilam, which I really want to talk about in a moment. News from Shani Oates, which I'd also like to talk about in a moment. But also this news about Jared Cavan Walker's upcoming book. So since Anathema is always open to new styles, new voices, and new approaches to the mysteries, it's with nothing but the utmost excitement that we extend a warm welcome to the talented Jared Cavan Walker to the Anathema roster of authors. So a contemplative photographer, poet based in Maryland, USA. He's particularly fond of the Kriya Yogi mystic Shelley Trimmer, whose syncretic teachings heavily inspired his debut work, The Book of Silent Sky. And from what I understand, this is due to come out this year, 2024. So Jared's first book with Anathema is nothing short of epic, transformative, poignant. The Book of Silent Sky is truly a rare find, and an even rarer literary style to read in a contemporary manuscript. This book made an indelible impression on us, with a suggested tuning and inputs to provide supplementary symbolic explanations and references. The final manuscript is a thing of beauty, sure to inspire and provide a light to the devoted seekers on the spiritual path. I'm very, very excited for this. But yes, as I say, this is far from being the only news from Anathema this week. Of course, we've got news of the date when the Kickstarter will actually launch. So Tuesday, March the 5th, 2024, is when the Kickstarter will actually launch. But Anathema actually recommends that we watch out for the page where you can actually subscribe to find it, to know when the Kickstarter actually does launch, in a further post, which I'll show you in a second. Let's see. So for those of you who don't know, for those of you who haven't been watching the show for a little while, maybe you're just getting to grips with what's going on here. Anathema Publishing are doing a Kickstarter of Jose Gabriel Alegría Sabogal's next book, right? So when Iao came out, it sold out within hours, pretty much. And so lots and lots of people were left going, I didn't even know that the book was coming out, and now I don't have it. So Iao is being published as a paperback, to go alongside Semesilam, as long as the Semesilam Kickstarter funds, right? As long as the Kickstarter actually reaches its goal. So if it doesn't reach its goal, then Anathema Publishing, which is really a two-person operation, just won't have the funds to do everything at the same time. So yeah, or will no doubt be pushed back at least until 2025. And then they'll do their best to make Semesilam available through the usual pre-order process. But yeah, obviously none of the Kickstarter exclusives that kind of depend on the Kickstarter being successful will be possible to be made, right? Which yeah, I know many people will be disappointed not to be able to get their hands on those José Gabriel Alegría Sabogal prints, right, that have been promised to go along as add-ons to this beautiful looking upcoming book. We've also, folks, got some pictures of what the artisanal edition is going to look like, folks. I'm so impressed. I'm so excited about this. Obviously it's just a Photoshop mock-up, but you can see already how absolutely beautiful this is going to be. Yeah, you probably saw my unboxing of the artisanal edition of Iao. Yeah, really one of the most beautiful books on my shelves, probably in my top 1 or 2 really. So yeah, this looks like it's going to be along the same lines. Look at that, absolutely beautiful. This looks like an embossed sun design, very, very lovely. Let me see. Yeah, news. So this is just reiterating that in the somewhat unlikely but unfortunate circumstance that the forthcoming Kickstarter is not fully funded by the end of the 30 days period of the campaign, so 30 days we have to make sure that this is funded, Anathema will have to resort to its usual pre-order modus operandi. Okay. So the launch page URL will be shared at the latest this coming Monday, February 5th. So yeah, keep an eye on your social media to know what that launch page URL will be. So yeah, when that actually arrives, you can just go over there and say, yeah, notify me when this Kickstarter launches. I'll talk again next week probably about Kickstarter and how it works for those of you who've never used Kickstarter, but nevertheless would like to make sure that you get your hands on this very, very cool upcoming book. There we go. Okay, so and then finally, of course, from that same newsletter, as I say, you know, I did say that there was a lot going on there. Shani Oates has confirmed that this year will be the year that Tubelo's Forge, the craft of Robert Cochrane, will be released. So she says winter of 2024. If we look down a little bit more into the comments, we see Anathema Publishing saying probably more like fall. So yeah, Q3, possibly Q4 of 2024. Very, very cool stuff. Those of you who don't know Shani Oates, she is the like the head, I think they call her the maiden of the clan of Tubal Cain, who is well, where basically where Wicca went one way, the clan of Tubal Cain went another way, and they are an absolutely fascinating order to look into if you're interested in witchcraft and kind of more traditional witchcraft. Then yeah, it's something to look into. Shani Oates actually published a number of books on the Norse traditions through Anathema Publishing over the past couple of years. She published a fantastic book called The Devil's Supper, which was literally about the devil and the traditions surrounding the devil. Very, very cool book that I reviewed. And then, of course, she's written many books about the clan of Tubal Cain, and one of the books that she wrote was called the Green Fire, Tubelo's Green Fire. Here we go. And I asked her, you know, can you share with us if this will assume familiarity with your previous book, Tubelo's Green Fire, or will it be a standalone, self-contained volume? And yeah, I'll refer you, of course, in the description here to Shani's answer, where she essentially says, of course, it'll be useful to to have read Tubelo's Green Fire, but this book will contain everything that a practitioner might need to follow the star-crossed serpent's teachings, right? The seasonal rites and rituals that Robert Cochrane and other members of the clan experienced, and which evolved during the few years of his life, spanning from 1960 to his death in yeah, of course, he didn't die at 6 years old, but the span of life between 1960 and 1966. There we go. So there we go. Yeah, just very, very exciting stuff. And I'll link in the description a link to the Wikipedia page of Robert Cochrane, so you can get an idea of who that was, if because he's just not as well known as, say, Gerald Gardner, although to my mind he's a lot more interesting. Anyway, there we go. Then we've got news from Holythorne Publishing, so who've released their publishing schedule for 2024. Lots of very, very cool stuff here, actually, from Holythorne Press. A History of Irish Magic by James and Sally North. A labour of love over quite a few years, covering druids, witchcraft, fairies, sacred kingship, Irish hermeticists, William Butler Yeats and his Celtic order, and the Hibernian adept art O'Murnahan. We really dig into these fascinating and frequently misreported topics. The image above is from the original artwork for the cover of the very talented Cormac Figgis. There we go. Very, very, very nice stuff. Flowering Dusk by Ella Young. So this is a republication of a work that, well, basically it was not quite an autobiography, but something like a memoir by Ella Young. Very, very nice. And then A Path to the Grail, Guild of the Mate Jesus, originated out of Dion Fortune's wish to form a new kind of Christian worship for adepts, which would become the Church of the Grail. Yeah, very, very nice stuff. So yeah, maybe a little note that Holythorne Press are, let's say, deeply interested in Dion Fortune and matters and writers surrounding Dion Fortune, her inspirations, her teachers, and so on and so forth, right? And then we've got, yes, more, lots more. Althea Giles and William Butler Yeats, title to be confirmed. Glastonbury Abbey, title to be confirmed. The Sphere Group. Yeah, I'm excited for every single one of these. It looks very, very cool. You may recognize, let me see if I can find maybe a link to check out our website. You may recognize some of their books. There's just a little note on the Flowering Dusk there, that memoir that I was telling you about. Yeah, The Mystery of Man. The one that I reviewed last year was, I can't remember the title of it. It was the one on witchcraft with the red cover and the kind of the stamp with the cat, the front and the back of the cat on both sides. But yeah, you can see probably from these pictures that they are their hard covers are really very, very lovely. Their soft covers, yeah, they're just repositories of information, but very interesting information, right? Yeah, very, very cool. All right, Holythorne Press, good stuff. News from Matt Auryn, who has shared with us the artwork for his upcoming book, The Psychic Art of Tarot. I told you about this upcoming book last week already, but now we actually have a cover, the cover art for the book, and it is beautiful, absolutely lovely. So True Black Tarot is, you may know that tarot. It's a very, very beautiful tarot, actually. Yes, and Matt has been very fortunate to land a collaboration with the artist from the True Black Tarot. Very, very nice. Yeah, the pre-orders are available, although the cover art has not yet reached Amazon. Speaking of updated covers for books that aren't due out quite yet, we've got Welsh Fairies from Mhara Grace Starling, which Mhara has shared with us pictures of the upcoming Welsh Fairies, and yeah, is very excited about how well it's going to match the previous book, Welsh Witchcraft. And yeah, once again, that's also available to pre-order, but it's not due out until the end of the year. I think, yeah, September 8th, 2024. I'll leave links to this for you in the description as well. I think that anyone interested in Welsh magic in general will probably already be familiar with Mhara's work. Very nice. Then news from Troy Publishing, Under the Dragon Root. So Corinne Boyer has been publishing books on the Green Path for quite a while now already. The first one, Under the Bramble Arch, then Under the Witching Tree, and now Under the Dragon Root is the third part from this trilogy, and it's now available to purchase directly through Troy Books or through any of your recommended esoteric and occult book retailers. I'll let you have a read of the blurb over here. Contains 20 original medieval woodcuts of the plants and around 50 captivating photos taken by Claude Mahmoud. Original cover art by Peter Köhler. Very, very nice. What formats do we have it in so far? Paperback is not yet released. The standard hardback edition is here, and the special edition is here. Very lovely, very, very lovely indeed. Okay. Mike Bass. So I don't know Mike Bass, or rather I didn't know Mike Bass until I read this very interesting post. Book launch, Paths on the Tree of Wisdom. A Watkins Books publication written by Kabbalist Mike Bass at Atlantis Bookshop London on Friday the 8th of March 2024 from 7 till 9:30 p.m. there's an informal book launch with an introduction presentation by the author of this new Kabbalah book, which is a contemporary guide for both the beginner and advanced student of Kabbalah. The most up-to-date and comprehensive guide of the Kabbalah within the Jewish mystical tradition. This is the first comprehensive book on the Kabbalah for 20 years. It will introduce this core mystical system to a new generation. This book is endorsed by some of the major figures in the English esoteric tradition. I think that's quite exciting. I mean, it's certainly not the first book in 20 years to have talked about the Kabbalah, but to have covered the Kabbalah and exclusively the Kabbalah from the Jewish mystical perspective. I think that's extremely exciting, and I would imagine that any of you living around London or having access to transport to London around the 8th of March might do much worse than to go and visit Atlantis Books in the heart of London. I think Atlantis Books is quite close to the British Library, if I remember correctly. It's quite a small shop, but it's lovely. It's very, very nice. And yeah, very cool to see an unfamiliar name to me, and talking about something that sounds like it could be something great, right? So the entrance is free, but please let Atlantis know if you wish to book a place. Probably useful information. Okay, next we've got news from Watkins Books. And they're having a sale, a big sale. So again, if you're in London during the month of February this time, then yeah, do go and check them out. Some very exciting stuff coming from them, and they actually put a post out saying that they're offering a 25% discount on all items in their upstairs cabinets. Now, those of you who have visited Watkins Books, you'll know that their upstairs cabinets are very exciting. They've got some very cool artifacts in there. Magical artifacts, magical implements, magical tools from various traditions, and yeah, 25% off those is going to be a significant reduction. I wish I was there. I wish I was there. Oh well. Yeah, okay. Well, it's not going to happen this month. Good. Next, we've got news from Christopher D. Wallace, whom some of you may know as Harish. Christopher D. Wallace is the author of one of my favorite books, full stop, called Tantra Illuminated. And he's got a lot of news that he's shared with us in his latest newsletter. For example, he's got a new podcast called Tantra Illuminated. Last time that I checked, a couple of days ago, there were already 2 new episodes on there where he's just giving an explanation of what Tantra actually is, hoping to be heard among the clamour of misinformation around Tantra. Yeah, hopefully people searching for information about Tantra will find his material before they find all the nonsense that exists, right? So yeah, very exciting. There's also news that he's working on 2 new books, Sutra Volume 1, including the Yoga Sutra, Heart Sutra, and the Recognition Sutras simplified version. So he's already released the Recognition Sutras in their full expanded version with a full commentary, but so this is going to be a simplified version, so maybe a little bit more accessible, because it is kind of hard work, the original Recognition Sutras, and a 35-hour audiobook on the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, featuring no less than 56 guided meditations. Very cool stuff. And yeah, and lots more, of course. I'll leave a link to the full newsletter down below. And finally, news from Anathema. No, from Sara Mastros. Thank you so much, Sara, for sharing this on Facebook. My eyes lit up when I saw this. So it's a Playmobil Hestra. And I did a little bit of research because it seemed too good to be true, but no, it's not only true, but there are actually 12 Greek gods, all available as Playmobil. The characters, look how cool that is. And not only that, but actually you've got the Playmobil history, Palace on Mount Olympus. There we go. You get the full palace, which comes, by the way, with if I click on it, you get included. You get Zeus, you get Dionysus over here. Let me try and see if I can get a bit. There's a picture of Dionysus over here. Got Zeus and one of the 3 Graces. Now, the 3 Graces are not available as individual models, so if you wanted 3 of these, you'd have to buy 3 palaces. Not exactly sure why that choice was made, or maybe I do, or maybe I'm just being cynical. But yes, isn't that cool? Look at that. You've got Apollo, Hestia, Hera, Aphrodite, Demeter, Artemis, Hermes, Poseidon, Athena, and Zeus, and Mars, of course, our Aries. Did I say Hephaestus? Because Hephaestus is available. Oh, yeah, here it is. It's actually the first one, the builder god. There we go. Very cool stuff. And yeah, and somebody, yeah, as I say, I went down a bit of a rabbit hole there and found a Reddit page where somebody had been building little temples for their Playmobil Greek gods. There we go, a little bit of fun. Yeah, I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't planning to get them for myself. There we are. Thanks very much everyone for watching once again. I hope you found one or two things of interest in today's edition of the news. Please don't forget that if you'd like to have a one-to-one conversation with me, you can. There are links down in the description and also in the pinned comment where you can just book a session, a 1 hour session to have a conversation with me about anything that might be on your mind. Maybe there's an aspect of your own spirituality that you'd like to explore and you'd like to get maybe some book recommendations. Maybe you'd like maybe something strange has been happening to you and you'd like to get like a second opinion or something along those lines. Or maybe you just like to get a tarot reading to know what the tarot has in store for you, what recommendations it has for your life in general or for a particular situation. Yeah, links to that down below. And what else can I say? Just a huge thank you to all the members. If you'd like to support the channel, do consider becoming a member by joining the Patreon. Links down in the description for that. And just a big thank you to everyone who already is a member and who get your Saturday videos a week before everyone else, and who get these news videos one day beforehand. And yeah, sounds like that's the gong. Thanks ever so much for watching once again. Take care of yourselves and of each other, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye bye.